Good morning. My name is Dr. Chan, Dean of Admissions here at the University of Utah School of Medicine. I am very excited to talk to you today about letters of recommendation, a very important part of your medical school application. For this upcoming year, we want 3, but no more than 4. All right, so you can submit 3 or 4, and that's a change from last year. We hear you, we get the feedback. We know getting letters can be difficult. So number 1, we still don't accept pre-med committee letters. They have to be individual letters. And we recommend that at least one of these letters is considered an academic letter. And what do we mean by that? And again, we've constructed a broad definition to help you, is that this letter writer should speak to your academic ability and/or intellectual curiosity. This letter does not have to necessarily be someone who directly taught you. It can be a professor you did research with or someone you were a TA with. So again, an academic letter should be, we recommend one of the 3 letters. Another one of the letters should be a mentoring letter. This is someone who can speak to your commitment to service, leadership ability, growth as a person, interpersonal and/or teamwork skills. So this person can be an employer, it can be a military supervisor, one of your athletic coaches, you're a religious leader. That can be one of the 3 or 4. We recommend all letters come on letterhead, have a signature at the bottom, and the way it works is when you apply to medical school, you upload your letters through MCAS. That's the National Application Service, and we download that from MCAS. We don't ask for letters directly. Okay? Most medical schools follow our model. Okay, so let me give you some tips here, how to do well. Your goal as an applicant to medical school is to cultivate relationships with professors, supervisors, and mentors. So what should you look for in letter writer? Make sure they spent time with you. Make sure they know you. They have real good experience in writing letters, and they explicitly will tell you they'll write you a strong letter. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share a big secret with you. If you don't know your letter writer, if you approach someone, if you're a wallflower at the back of class, let's pick on Jack. Say Jack sat at the back of class, big biology class, 300 people. He never made time to email the professor. He never made time to get to know them. He didn't visit office hours. And here's the secret. Jack approaches the letter writer after class and says, hey, will you write me a letter? And the letter writer says, yes. And Jack fails to ask the second important question, will you write me a great letter? Hopefully most letter writers will be honest with you and say no if they don't know you, but let's pretend Jack forgot to ask that. That letter writer, that professor will go home, they'll have a nice dinner with their family, they'll spend some time with their kids, they'll watch some, American Idol or, America's Voice or whatever's going on. They'll relax, they'll go down their den, it'll be like 10 o'clock at night, and they'll say, oh yeah, I have to write that letter for, what was that person's name again? Was it Bob? Was it Richard? Was it Jack? They'll shrug their shoulders, and here's the big secret. Your professors have templates on their computer. They'll fire up the computer for letter recommendation, and if they don't know you, if they were not really sure what you're doing or where you're coming from or where you're going, they're going to start filling out those fields on the template, and they're going to make mistakes. So we, at our medical school, our admissions committee, we see several examples of letters being submitted with the wrong name, with the wrong gender. I have several letters this year that are addressed to our law school, how they're so excited that they're applying to our law school. This is funny because we're actually a med school, okay? So again, the theory is that if your letter writers know you, they'll be invested in your success. They want to see you do well, and they'll spend time on those letters, and they won't make silly mistakes. So as I mentioned, wrong name, wrong gender, short letters. So I think the record this year was a letter recommendations that was 3 sentences long. I don't know this person, I don't know why they're asking me to write a letter, but here it is. Applying to the wrong type of school. If you approach a family friend, let's pretend you volunteered at a clinic or you volunteered at some activity like a homeless shelter, and the person who supervised you just happened to be a family friend, you know them through another way, and you want them to write you a letter, that's great, but you really need to have a conversation with them to make sure they focus on professional and academic attributes and traits. Let me give you another example. This happened a couple years ago. Let's pick on Jill. So Jill applied to medical school. She approached someone who she knew through her church, and she volunteered at a clinic where this church member worked. And the church member, when Jill approached her, said, oh, will you write me a letter? I want to go to med school. And this person said, yes, I've known you since you were a baby. I'll write a letter for you. So Jill was really excited. She went home. She told her family that this person from her church, from her neighborhood, was going to write her a letter. So when this person started writing the letter, they started talking about stories from Jill's childhood. How Jill was just this fun girl who rode like her bicycle up and down the streets. As Jill got older, Jill, showed this great prowess in playing softball, and Jill always went to church on time and did all the type of activities expected of Jill. And Jill actually was in a group that went to like some junior prom dance later on in life, and this person talked about how great, Cheesecake Factory was that night, and how someone spilled food at the Cheesecake Factory and Jill helped clean it up. All right, how do you think the admissions committee viewed a letter like this? I'll give you a big thumbs down. The committee hates letters like these because this letter focused on all these childhood stories, these anecdotes about Jill, no mention of her abilities as a future doctor, any attributes or traits concerning academics, and clearly this person knew her from a different venue through her church, through the neighborhood, and never spoke to what Jill was doing at this clinic that she was volunteering in, okay? So if you ask a family or friend to write you a letter recommendation, really have that honest conversation. Please focus on professional and academic traits. And other problems we see frequently, no signature on the letter, and there's no letterhead. All clinics, all hospitals have letterhead. All undergraduate institutions have letterhead. It looks strange to us when someone submits a letter and it looks like it just came out of Microsoft Word. Remember, your letters of recommendation are part of who you are, and it speaks to the committee about who you choose, all right? So know your letter writers well, be specific in what you're asking for, and plan ahead. Cultivate those relationships now. And the last point, again, a tip for you, because you're listening to this YouTube clip, you're paying attention. Who you choose is as important as what they say about you. So for example, let's go back to Jill again. Let's pick on Jill. Jill did 1,000 hours of research with this really great research lab. She wrote about how meaningful it was to her in her application. She brought it up in her personal statement. She talked about it on interview day. It looks really, really strange to committee members when Jill never got a letter recommendation from that person. So again, there has to be a sense to this. You have to be very strategic on who you ask those letter writers. All right, I hope you learned a lot about letters of recommendation, and I look forward to getting your applications. See you soon.